Hello everyone, this is part 19 of What If Naruto Failed and Chose a Different Path, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. The remaining week before the Chunin exams went by fast as Naruto balanced his time between training, seeing Hinata, Temari, or Haku, dodging fangirls, and eating ramen. During that time, Baki had reluctantly been brought over to see the Hokage by Zabuza. After seeing that Gaara was in fact okay in regards to his inner demon, the half-masked Chunin had decided to pledge his loyalty to Konoha as well, telling him everything that the others did not already know. Outside of the boy's family, Baki had known Gaara the most out of all the Sand Shinobi and sooner while under his supervision. Even though the Chunin felt some form of obligation to help his slowly village, he had grown to like the red-haired boy to such a degree to where he could be considered the father Gaara always wanted. Baki felt it was his duty to help Gaara to the end no matter where life took the boy or his siblings. After that was settled, Naruto suggested that the 4 ninjas and the 1 demon lord stay at his house in secret until after the Chunin exams were over. Originally, Sarutobi was very much against it, but then he realized that he had forgotten just how big Arashi's house was. Even with his current residents living in it with him, it was like having a few drops of water in an empty bucket. In other words, the bucket needed more water in it. After the realization had kicked in, the old man of a Hokage approved it if they promised to keep it a secret until the exams and the Sandout off-sound invasion was over. Naturally, they all agreed, though Haku and Hinata were worried, as it was one more female ninja who was in the race to compete for Naruto's heart. What is more is that when they first saw Temari in the clothing that she wore, they realized just how good the older girl's figure really was. Troublesome compassion, thought Haku and Hinata when they saw each other or Temari in the area. Temari herself was unsure of the multicolored bombshell as she saw that despite being only few years younger than her, that he was more fit than anyone she ever knew with the exception of Gaara, who always carried such heavy sand around. Well, it's not like I'm into him in that sort of way, thought Temari to herself as she had become aware of the other 2 girls wanting to claim Naruto as theirs. By the end of that day and time, Haku had been given the rank of Chunin as the Hokage had secretly made Matogai her examiner without her knowing it. Zabuza had been told not to tell her so she would think it was an actual training session and so she would not have to worry about the possibility of screwing up in front of the examiner. The fact that Zabuza was going to teach Lee how to use his type of sword and Haku being the boy's new taijutsu sparring partner was an unexpected bonus for both Chunin. Naturally, Haku was pissed off at being deceived by the man. Zabuza had to have several Anbu medic ninjas remove the Senbon needles to prevent permanent arm and leg loss. Well, it's not like I was going to CSPLE him much, thought Haku as she now wore thick leather gloves for her training with Guy along with special finger padding to allow her to still hold and throw her Senbon needles with the same efficiency as always. At the day of the Chunin exams, Naruto woke up at 6 a.m. sharp, as he wanted to get in some training before the exams started. Nothing too serious, as he just wanted to do the standard sword practice to keep his skills sharp so when the time came they would come in handy. By that time it was 7 a.m., Naruto was done his brief workout, and then went inside to get some breakfast for the long day ahead of him. After that he walked out the door and decided to walk to the academy at a slow yet casual way, seeing as he was really in no rush. Along the way he saw another person heading for the academy with a bowl-shaped haircut, green spandex, and the thickest eyebrows he had ever seen. He must be the kid Haku told me about when she was made a Chunin, thought Naruto as he jogged up to catch up to him. Hey, you're Rock Lee, right? Said Naruto smiling in a greeting form, holding out his hand for the boy to shake. Yosh, I am the young green beast of Konoha, Rock Lee. I would yell louder to express by flames of youth if it were not so early in the morning and the villages of Konoha have yet to ignite their own, said Lee in a very dramatic, almost Shakespearean way after he shook the boy's hand. Right, look, maybe Haku mentioned me in one of your spars. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, said Naruto, as he did not want Lee to yell to everyone in Konoha sleeping or awake that his last name was really Kazama. You are the Uzumaki Naruto Haku keeps telling me about. Yosh. Now I see why she works so hard in being strong. You are her inspiration. When we run laps around Konoha, she talks to me about how you are so strong in protecting those precious to you. Perhaps if we do not face each other in the exams later, you and I could spar sometime, said Lee, giving Naruto his good guy pose, which due to it not facing the sun did not permanently blind him. As they got closer to the academy, Naruto and Lee noticed that Hinata's cousin Neji and another girl next to him that was obviously his and Lee's teammate enter the building. I would like that. Go on ahead and meet your teammates, I still have to wait for mine, said Naruto as they reached the steps of the academy. I will see you later then. Oh, one question, is the famous Uchiha Sasuke that is on your team scared? I would very much like to test my skills against a Konoha genius, like Sasuke, so I can prove hard work overcomes all others, said Lee as he wanted to learn more about his competition as well as his rival. Sasuke. Well, I will admit he is somewhat scared. I would not bother with him seeing as he is really stuck up. He expects everyone to just give him everything and anything he wants. He treats people who do like dirt just like those who do not, only worse as if they were made to serve him. Trust me, Lee, if you do fight Sasuke, make sure you fight him first in the exams so he cannot copy your skills to use as his own. Without the Sharingan eyes to help him, Sasuke is nothing more than a helpless child, who would have to learn things the hard way. In some aspects, Lee, you are superior to him. Think about it, said Naruto as he saw something in Lee's eyes as if the thick-eyed-browed kid had a revelation of sorts. I will, Naruto. I look forward to our match or spar when us, geniuses of hard work, fight to see who is the stronger, said Lee, thrusting his fist into air before heading inside. So do I, Lee. So do I, said Naruto as he continued to wait for his teammates to arrive at the spot, knowing it would be a good 15 minutes before they did and they could all go in as a group. Hokage Tower Council Meeting Room. I assume you know why I called you all here. With the help of Uzumaki, Naruto curses and mumbles, I have learned that the Sand and the newly formed Sound Village under the command of Orochimaru himself have formed an alliance. They plan to strike in the third part of the Chunin exams while we are watching the match below, said the third as he decided to ignore the curses and mumblings of Demon Brat for now. Lord Hokage, how much evidence has he given you as proof that this is not some stupid prank, or for that matter a way to make us forget about him so he can betray us? Said a council member to the far right as his fading long black hair turned gray was moved from the front of his face. Naruto has brought me the Kazekage's own son Gaara, who like Naruto has one of the 9-tailed demon lords inside of him. Along with the boy's 2 siblings as well as their Junin sensei Baki. The man even admitted to the reason why Suna made the secret pact with Sound to me, and that he had the orders with the official symbol of the cage of Suna on the orders, said Sarutobi, hoping that this information would make them all see that Naruto was not the beast they thought he was. He was wrong. There is another demon in Konoha. Moreover, in the Chunin exams no less. Lord Hokage, you must send an Anbu Black Ops team to eliminate this demon boy. It is bad enough we have one in the village, but a second crosses the line, said another old-looking council member as the aged man, who was practically seething at there was another demon vessel in the village. Enough. Despite what you think, you are wrong. Gaara, with the help of Naruto, Slade-san, along with myself, were able to help Gaara, and in return he has pledged his loyalty to Konoha with the full intent of helping us stop this invasion, said the third Hokage as he was now furious at them all for not understanding that both Naruto and Gaara were boys given great burdens. We will see if you are right, Sarutobi. However, know this, should you be wrong, we win in the outcome for the village, and you are alive, we expect you to resign your position as Hokage. What is more is that should we be right about both boys, we will have the full authority to kill both Uzumaki, Naruto and this Gaara of the Sand despite whatever your protests are in front of us, said Homura Mitokado as he would not stand for something so unnatural as demons, much less their human vessels in the village. Konoha Ninja Academy. Sasuke and Sakura finally arrived at the academy only to see Naruto waiting for them to show up with his arms crossed. In doing so he showed those spiked arm braces that he wore were not something you wanted to be near when you fought him in a taijutsu spar. So the loser is here already, huh? Good, I hope whatever is in there chews him up and spits him out while I, Konoha's #1 rookie of the year, fulfill my destiny. Then I'll show everyone why I am worthy of the title Uchiha, thought Sasuke as he and Sakura were now several feet away from him before he looked at both of them before turning around to enter the building. Naruto noticed that Sasuke no longer had his nose cast on, meaning that the doctors in the hospital fixed his nose up quickly enough. No doubt so they could have their precious Uchiha look all nice and intimidating in front of the compassion, thought Naruto, as all he got from hospital visits were glares and expired medication. Naruto, do you have to wear that stupid mask all the time? It's getting kind of old, said Sakura, as she thought the whole wearing a mask, though essential for some ninja, was not required in most cases. This coming from someone who has pink hair and worries over Sasuke practically 24 out of 7 without even remotely trying to train for the exams. Ha! You are not one to talk, Sakura, said Naruto as he walked up the flight of stairs until they got to the second floor, ignoring the angry Sakura with steam coming out of her ears. The three genin had to walk to the next flight of stairs along corridor past the classrooms where a very small fight, if you will, was breaking out. Let us in, you jerk, we're here for the first part of the exams, said the girl that Naruto saw was Lee's teammate as she had her hair all wrapped up in 2 buns. The situation Naruto saw was quite simply surprising, as the girl had been holding Lee after he had been knocked down by the older ninja. It was surprising to Naruto because the boy, from what Haku had told him, was not possible to defeat so easily. Even among those in the Chunin ranks, with his speed and strength, he could possibly best them with his taijutsu easily. Trust in Haku to always give you accurate information on someone. Lee is holding back. A lot back, thought Naruto as he, Sasuke, and Sakura approached the group. What's your problem, punk? Said the other guy next to the one who knocked down Lee in the beginning of the scuffle. First, is you being a total jackass to someone who is holding back a vast majority of his strength so he doesn't show his true power. Second, is you blocking me and my team from passing the area here so we can go to the 3rd floor to the exams. Third, your poor excuse of a genjutsu that any ninja with half a brain could see is up over the door. Now move before I make you, said Naruto as he cracked his N when he arched his N back in a crescent moon form from left to right and then right to left. Naruto, we don't have time for this, we're going to get in trouble, said Sakura as she had seen the genjutsu herself, as did Sasuke, though they had enough manners not to insult the older, more experienced ninja in front of them. Naruto. As in the last at the academy, Naruto. I thought you had stopped being a ninja a little over a year ago. You must be either stupid or crazy to pick a fight with me, said the first bully, cracking his knuckles in both of his hands. You'll find my life has been greatly misspoken. As for me being crazy or stupid, why don't you try to hit me and we'll see what category I fall under, said Naruto, gesturing with 2 fingers for the man to attack. Naruto, you loser, stop acting cool so we can take the exam already before we're late and we fail, said Sasuke as he had no room for showboating unless he was the one doing it. Naruto did not look at Sasuke, but instead merely smirked behind his mask, but the look in his eyes told all who saw it that it was meant for the 2 ninjas in front of him. It was almost as if he was daring them to make the first move, knowing it would be their last. As expected, they did indeed make the first move. The first one who bullied Lee threw a punch at Naruto, who caught and then twisted the hand until it snapped at the wrist and threw the man aside. The second one was behind him, surprising almost everyone as he tried to take a kunai that he had in his hand and slam it into Naruto's spine. Naruto had sensed him long before the man even drew the weapon and moved almost invisibly to the left before his attacker knew what hit him. Naruto then ran up the wall, to the ceiling, and then down upon the man feet first, sending his assailant onto the very hard wooden floor. Hard. And that's the end of this chapter. Time to go. See you later, Lee, said Naruto before patting the boy on the shoulder, only to receive a thumbs up for the excellent display of SK. At that moment, as Naruto walked away from the conflict behind him with the others in tow, several things happened. First, Neji had fear in his eyes at the skill the boy used to defeat 2 ninja that were supposed to be higher up in rank so easily. Second, the girl that had helped Lee was extremely close to having hearts in her eyes, as she had never seen anyone with that much speed, strength, and skill used in defeating someone else before. Third, Sasuke was visibly fuming at Naruto's abilities and that in his state of surprise he did not activate his Sharingan eyes to copy the movements to make as his own. Soon, loser. I will copy your moves in battle or when training, and then I'll be one step closer to knocking you down in the gutter where you belong along with all the other weak trash, thought Sasuke as they eventually made it to the designate room and entered. As expected, there was a lot of competition this year from all over the place. From both major and minor villages, genin ninja were all over the room. I call beating up the ugly ones, said Naruto, earning a few glares from some of the more disfigured ninja in the room. Hey Naruto, nice of you to show up and make enemies in a single sentence. Man, you can be so troublesome at times, like all blonde people in this world, said Shikamaru as Choji and Ino made their appearance behind him. Well then I guess the joke's on you, man, I'm not blonde anymore, said Naruto, laughing at Shikamaru's shocked face as the others came in around them. The lazy boy realized that up until now he had never really seen Naruto's hair since he last saw him, as it was always hidden underneath that helmet since he came back after that 1 year of absence. So all the rookie 9 are here. Well, rookie 8 if you exclude Naruto, that is, said Kiba, sneering at Naruto, who just looked at him with his head seed to the right before it went back straight again as if he were pondering something. It was then that Naruto got a clear idea. Say Kiba, how's your sister? I think I saw her the other day with a shirt that says, I support and love the Naruto fangirl club. How does it feel to know your sister has a thing for me? Said Naruto, making Kiba angry as he grind his teeth together. You leave my sister out of this, you jerk, or I'll tear you apart, said Kiba, as he wanted to just take his clawed hands and tear Naruto's pretty boy face apart. I doubt you would threaten your sister like that, Kiba, and if you did I think she would most likely neuter you for it, and if you keep on making threats like that if she doesn't do it, I will, said Naruto before looking around the room and noticing Gaara, who nodded to him with less sleep-deprived eyes. Naruto also noticed Temari eyeing him, or rather his body, quite briefly before she turned away, blushing up a small storm. An act that didn't go unnoticed by Hinata as she moved closer to Naruto in hopes of seeking his attention away from the sand girl. Hey, would you guys knock it off? You're drawing too much hostility in this area and I would rather not be a target just yet, said voice, drawing all 9 rookies to the source of it in the form of a young man with white hair and glasses. Who the hell are you 4 eyes? Said Kiba, as he or any of the others for that matter had never seen the kid before despite him having a leaf headband on. The name's Kabuto. If you know what's good for you, you'll keep your mouth shut for the remainder of the exam so you don't piss off anyone else. You learn that when you take the exam as long as I have, said Kabuto as he was in crouching position. How many times have you taken the exams? Once. Twice, said Shikamaru lazily, but like the others they were curious as to what the young ninja meant. This would be my 7th time actually, but this time around I have a little ace up my sleeve, said Kabuto, showing him the cards he pulled from his pocket. What are those? Said Hinata as she scooted slightly closer to Naruto as she felt safer when near him. Info cards I created and can only be used by me when I use my chakra. I have info on everyone so I can find just about anything in regards to ninja's background, said Kabuto as she shuffled his deck waiting for someone to call out a name or names. I want information on Rock Lee, Gaara of the Sand, and Uzumaki Naruto, said Sasuke, as he wanted to know just about everything he could on those opponents after he heard what Naruto said about Lee. You know the names. That's not really any fun, but alright if you insist, said Kabuto as he took out a card from the deck and spun it around on the ground with his chakra. This should be good, thought Neji as he could find out more about Uzumaki Naruto and then use it against Hinata later in some way along with his plans to crush. Let's first up is Rock Lee. He has no ninjutsu or genjutsu, but his taijutsu is an all-time high for him as it seems he can't do anything else, said Kabuto as he took out the next card and gave that one a spin. This one better be Naruto's, thought Sasuke and Neji at the same time, as they were getting slightly impatient. Second up is Gaara of the Sand. Strange. I don't have that much information on his abilities other than he's been on several A-ranked missions and has not been hit once during any mission he has been on. Weird, said Kabuto as he looked at Gaara, who just stared at into nothingness as he waited patiently for something to happen. No one has ever hit him. He must be strong. All the more reason to beat to prove myself as an Uchiha, thought Sasuke as he almost wanted to release his bloodline limit, but held back knowing it would be foolish. And finally last, but not least we have one Uzumaki Naruto, said Kabuto as he spun the card and lifted it up to read the information only to have the symbol of a dragon's head appear before it burst into a dark flame. Sorry pal, but anyone who takes the Chunin exam 7 times in a row is not doing it just for fun. Not when you smell of snakes, you two-timing traitor of a bastard, thought Naruto as he smiled at the thought of King the Spy in the most painful ways imaginable. What just happened? Said Neji as he, like everyone else, was surprised at how the info card was destroyed. I'm not really sure, but whatever it was must be pretty potent stuff to destroy my info card, said Kabuto, scratching his head in puzzlement. Thanks Dragona, thought Naruto as he had requested that his dragon create a special marker in his body that would prevent others from obtaining information about him, thus causing the destruction of the info card once he had heard Sasuke asking for information on him. Hey, did you guys hear of a new village participating this year? Said Kabuto, seeing as he really wanted to change the subject from the card to something else. Really? What village is that? Kiba looking around trying to see which genin team was representing the new village. It's the Hidden Sound Village. They are new, so they are weak now, but it gives them all the reason to participate this year so they can grow, said Kabuto as he points to the trio of genin wearing grey and dark camouflage clothing, with one begin covered mostly in bandages like he had been in a tomb for most of his life. So we're weak, are we? I think it's time we showed them just who is weak around here, said the bandaged covered looking sound ninja, raising the oversized long sleeve shirt before charging at Kabuto with speed that was almost impossible to see. Gaara and Naruto, however, were the almost that did see it, however, as they both watched from the corner of their eyes. Right before the sound ninja attacked Kabuto, Naruto had suddenly moved at his own speed and pushed Kabuto out of the way. Naruto then drew his sword straight at the sound genin's face before he could complete the attack that he was going to use on Kabuto. The pointy end of Naruto's sword was less than half an inch from the sound ninja's face, while his arm was half his arm's length from connecting with the side of Naruto's face. Don't be so hasty, Teres. You will have plenty of time for that later in the exams when we all fight each other, said Naruto, looking right into the sound ninja's slightly disturbed eye. How can he be so fast, much less precision in accuracy? Had I continued with the attack, his sword would have impaled through my skull. King me. Who is he? Thought the ninja as he slowly retracted his hand away from Naruto, who after 2 seconds removed the tip of his sword from being close to his face. All right, you bastards, all of need to listen up. No one will be fighting in here unless I say so. Got that? Said a tall, black trenchcoat wearing, scarred-faced man, who was accompanied by several others holding clipboards. We'll finish this later, Leaf. Count on it, said the sound genin as he walked back to his group as it was time for the next part of the exam. I intend to, you mummified bastard, said Naruto, flipping the other genin off, making Hinata giggle slightly at Naruto's antics, while Temari blushed at his rudeness as she would have done the same thing in Naruto's place. Lee and Neji's female ninja of a partner mentally giggled, as it was clear that the sound ninja did not realize Naruto did that. He's cute in his own unorthodox way, thought the girl as she noticed his sword at his waist and realized he must be handy with a weapon. Tenten-chan, what are you looking at? Said Lee, frowning as he noticed his teammate's eyes looking in Naruto's direction. Oh, nothing, said Tenten as she waves her hands up defensively, trying to call back the blush that was rushing to her face. One by one, all of the genin in the room sat down in the seat and row they were given, waiting for the exams to start. Fortunately, for Naruto, Hinata sat right next to him, giving him a friendly face to look at when an opportunity came up. Gee, good luck en Naruto-kun, I hope why you pass, said Hinata, as she was giving off a small blush from being so close to him. You too, Hinata. Let's show these guys how real ninja kick ass, said Naruto, giving his own version of the nice guy pose minus the intense light from his teeth. Hinata giggled a little at his rude yet inspiring words, as it was just like him to go and say something along those lines. All right, you bastards, listen up. My name is Morinoibiki and I'll be your examiner for the first of 3 parts in the Chuunin exam. Yelled Ibiki, motioning for those that had come in with him to sit down in their seats on opposite sides of the wall to the left and right of him. Talk about intimidating. Half the people here are ready to either piss themselves, run, or both at the same time, thought Naruto as all of them were given pencil and paper. The first part of the exam is a written one. You have 1 hour to complete it. Cheating will not be tolerated and the final question will not be revealed until the last 15 minutes of the exam. The proctors here will make sure none of you cheats. If you are caught cheating over 10 times, you and your team will fail. Yelled Ibiki, looking around the room, seeing that his sadist ways had not lost their edge, as more than a handful of the genins in the room were sweating to a point of dehydration. Well, if I didn't know any better, I would say I have 2 people sending me their intent, thought Naruto as he sensed Sasuke and Sakura glaring at him as if to try and tell him not to screw it up. If it was not for the fact that if they went down as a group and not individually, he would have made sure they fail while he advanced. Of course, for the sake of teamwork he was not going to reveal that to them anytime soon, but in his mind he could always dream it. All right, the written part of the CHUUNIN exam starts now, yelled Ibiki the instant the clock behind him hit 8 a.m. Not to worry Naruto-kun, I will help you out. It sounds from the way things are you are going to have to cheat anyway, said Dragona in his head as she told him all the correct answers, which after carefully thinking it over mentally wrote it down. About 5 minutes into the test, Naruto had already finished answering all the questions, though he soon realized his friends were in trouble. Not surprising since these questions were far harder than a normal genin could be able to answer. Some of the questions on the test could even make a veteran Junin or Anbu sweat a little, as these required careful wording and precision of writing. He wanted to help them, but found he could do little, as he doubted any of them would want help from a dark dragon that resided in his arm. If only Slade were here to give me some advice instead of being around Kurenai-san. Oh well, I better get some sleep, thought Naruto as he put his head on the desk and closed his eyes to take a good 40-minute nap, as it would take him another 5 minutes to get his attention span up to maximum. Hinata felt it very hard to believe that Naruto could surprise her any more than he already did in the time she had been with him and learned what she did about him. However, she found herself once more surprised by him as she found he had not only completed the test in 5 minutes, but he was now sleeping with his body covering most of the paper. The only part that was not covered that, after closer inspection, was for her to read. It was a small message that was written in light pencil lead telling her that it was okay to copy his answers using her bloodline limit should she ever become stuck on one of the harder questions. He cares. He doesn't want me to fail, thought Hinata as she nearly passed out from the thought before she wrote down the answers with the help of her Byakugan. Ibiki noticed this too and mentally frowned. After looking at his list of test takers in his hand, his eyes stopped at the name of Uzumaki Naruto. This made Ibiki almost physically frown at the name, though he did not know why he wanted to. He had no hatred towards the boy and he knew that the demon and him were separate yet stuck in one body all the same. However, from what he recalled, this boy's test scores were less than academic when they were all totaled together. So how in hell did he complete the test this fast? The Nara kid is barely a third through the test now and he's supposed to be the smartest one of all the rookie 9, thought Ibiki and made a mental note to have Naruto stay after so this matter could be resolved. Ibiki was not the only one who was surprised as everyone else, both Genin and proctors, looked at Naruto then at each other. What the hell, was the thought of everyone in the room, except Hinata who shortly finished all, but the last question seeing how it has yet to be given. She must have copied all of his answers, meaning they were probably right. Just who the hell is this kid? Thought Ibiki as time rolled by as others found their own inventive ways to cheat. Eventually, after several eliminations, though not as many as Ibiki wanted, the time had come for the 10th and final question, which Ibiki was grateful for giving it, as he had to find the underlying cause of this situation with Uzumaki Naruto. By this point, the boy had already awakened from his slumber, cracking his N loudly and calmly like it was normal for him. For Ibiki, nothing about this kid was normal and the Hokage he suspected was hiding something from him that he should be made aware of after this was over. All right, now it is time for the 10th and final question. Those WHO wish to take the last question may stay, but get it wrong and you will never have a chance to take the CHUUNIN exams here ever again. Those WHO don't can leave, but in doing so will go on your record as a coward and failure for all to see. Yelled Ibiki, as he looked at the shocked face on almost all the genin in the room. Almost all the genin. After some of the people left, Ibiki saw that one person out of all of them was now very impatient with the waiting. Will you hurry up and just give us the damn 10th question already, Scarface-san? I have places to go and people to see, and of course K, said Naruto leaning back in his chair with both his arms behind his head in a calm manner. Gaara smirked as he was thinking the same thing, as he had becoming impatient as well and was wondering if Terra would like to come out and both of them could create a little carnage. Temari did not know whether to be terrified or impressed with the set of jewels the boy had down south, from his apparent rudeness to a man who seemed to have had his fair share of battles. Sasuke and Sakura were glaring at him from behind, fearing being kicked out and failing because of his brashness towards the scarred and intimidating man. Hinata was completely awed that Naruto could stand up to someone like Ibiki who was bigger than him, like some sort of obstacle that needed to be conquered. She was not the only one in awe, as Tenten had to suppress a giggle while Lee gave him a good guy pose and thumbs up at Naruto, seeing as he, at least in Lee's mind, was shining with the powers of youth. Lee would have said it had it not been for the intimidating man in the front of the room looking at Naruto with hardened eyes. Are you sure? Do you really want to go through with this? What will you do should you fail with your team? None of you could become Chunin or advance in rank, making you a genin the rest of your life, said Ibiki, looking right at the boy who matched him with the same intense stare. Then I'll leave Kohono and find a village that will recognize me for my skills rather than judge over some mysterious question for some stupid written exam. Now quit stalling and tell us the 10th question before I start taking heads, starting with yours, said Naruto, motioning to his sword moved up slightly with his left thumb as if to add his point further home. The kid has balls, I'll give him that. He reminds me of someone, but who? Thought Ibiki, as he looked at Naruto a little while longer before deciding to finally tell them the 10th question. If that's your final answer as well as everyone else's. Silence, very well. If that is the case then. Congrats, you all pass. Yelled Ibiki at the end, making Kiba faceplant on his desk along with Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji, who had been nervous over the 10th question the entire time. What? Yelled Sakura, making everyone within projectile range of the yell go deaf before they could clean out the ears with the pinky finger. That's right. You see, there was no 10th question, but rather a choice of you willing to answer a question you assumed was there with risks that would be career-threatening. That is the way of life for a shinobi. Each mission you go on, whether it is by yourself or with a ninja squad, can be career or life-threatening. The choices you make in regards to a mission determines the outcome and whether it was a success or a failure. The fact that those who stayed were willing to take the exam regardless of the consequences proved you are in fact ready for the next part in the exam, said Ibiki, and seconds after he said that the glass window to the right of him exploded. A giant ball of what looked like a brown trench coat appeared in the female equivalent of Ibiki in the form of Mitarashi Anko. Okay, you maggots, it's time for the second part of the exam, said Anko in a very over-the-top dramatic-like fashion. Anko, sigh, you are a minute early. Next time be aware your surrounds, what you are doing, and before you do it, said Ibiki as he felt his more wild interrogation partner could be so unprofessional. Sheepishly Anko grinned at Ibiki and then turned to her scared prey for the next event, only to realize that there were not as many people cut than she thought. You came in with 45 genin and have 30 remaining. Damn Ibiki, you must be getting old because you used to dwindle the number down to single digits the last time you did this, said Anko, grinning at her scowling scarred face partner. I just happen to have a good batch of genin this year that have, apparently from what I have seen, bigger balls than you do, Anko, said Ibiki as he smiled again before his eyes turned to Naruto, who could not help but let out a small chuckle at Anko, now visibly fuming at Ibiki's words. Yeah, well, all more easier to remove when we get to the next part of the exam. All right, you maggots, get up and follow me, said Anko as she walked out the door, which had unknowingly to her brought a sigh of relief to Ibiki, as it would have been quite hard on the village's budget to buy 2 replacement windows rather than 1. Uzumaki, Naruto, I need you to stay with me for a while as I have some things that need to be discussed with you, said Ibiki before Naruto could leaving, making Hinata worried and others curious as to what was going on. Sure, why not? Just don't try any psychological tea stuff on me, as I have already had my fair share of hell on earth, said Naruto, sitting back down on in his seat that was in before. Could you please get the Hokage in here, said Ibiki to one of the proctors, who nodded and left in a puff of smoke. When Ibiki turned to face Naruto, he saw that the boy had metal-laced combat-designed boots up on the wooden furnish of the Rose massive table. I take it this is not for the Hokage to make a social call with me, said Naruto in a cold voice with his arms now folded along his chest. Ibiki did not say anything, but rather walked up to the boy and drew a kunai to his hand while watching Naruto with careful eyes. Not really. Believe what you want, but I have great respect for you and what the 4th Hokage did to protect his village. I am sure you can only imagine my disgust at this village and how they all treated you when you were younger, when you should have been seeing you as a hero. If it makes you feel any better, those who were taken to me by the Hokage to T&K were met with slow agonizing death, said Ibiki, as he looked into the Naruto's blue eyes, seeing the intensity the boy seemed to possess. Thanks you, Ibiki-san. However, I doubt you did this with a kunai in your hand just to tell me this while you have someone get the Hokage. Meanwhile my team fails because I am not with them for the second part of the exam, said an annoyed Naruto who gave off a small animal-like growl at the end. You don't have to worry about that. Anko heard me asking you to stay, so knowing her she will stall long enough for this whole thing to get resolved, in a very torturing-like fashion, said Ibiki, smiling at the fact Anko's personality was by far from normal. Just as he finished saying that, the door opened revealing the Hokage, Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai, Slade, the Chunin Proctor, and a small squad of Anbu. Well, aren't we a well-made army? Combined you could actually give me a pretty decent workout, said Naruto before yawning. What exactly is wrong, Ibiki? The proctor for this exam did not specify what you wanted other than to see me and that it possibly concerned Naruto, said Sarutobi looking over at Naruto, who looked back at him and shrugged. This boy finished the exam in 5 minutes precisely, even though his records indicate he always did poorly on them, said Ibiki looking at the Hokage wondering how to proceed. By this point, the third Hokage had obtained a decent headache that could rival the ones he got from paperwork any day. Ibiki, I know it seems suspicious right now, but trust me, the boy is Uzumaki Naruto. His test scores when he was here in the academy were all tainted or poisoned by the Chunin teachers and the Junin headmaster, said Sarutobi, realizing that he probably should have told Ibiki about this sooner rather than have this happen. However, it was hard with Ibiki on constant T assignments to protect the leaf from spies and the fact that he, the Hokage himself, had been so busy that he could not make a simple appointment with the scarred-faced man to explain the situation to him. As much as I love hearing this, I think Naruto should head to the second part of the exam before his team becomes quite angry with him, said Slade looking at Naruto, giving the young boy a nod telling him to go. Just as Naruto got up, he suddenly went into battle stance aimed towards the window just before it broke, revealing the familiar form of Mitarashi Anko. So what did I miss? Said Anko, as she smiled at everyone in the room. Is it me or is she hoping that I get hurt? Said Naruto, pointing his thumb at Anko, who felt she should have taken offense to that, but decided not to do anything. I think she's hoping you get hurt, said Slade, laughing slightly as if it were a just joke. Anko was soon told about Ibiki holding Naruto back after taking the written test, and she herself found that her partner's actions were not without reason. He had after all not been informed of Naruto's changes, so it was only natural that he would be suspicious. Well, I gave all the runts some time before the second part of the exam started, but the funny thing is, that if the clock on the wall is correct, then Uzumaki here only has about 5 minutes to get to the Forest of Death. After that I will no choice, but to disqualify you and your teammates, said Anko, smiling her deceiving smile as she pointed at the clock and then out the window she had entered, that if you head straight would take you to the necessary location. Let me guess, it take more than 5 minutes to get there. Why can't you people make things a challenge for once? Said Naruto, making Anko face plant and everyone except Slade sweat drop at his remark. Easy, kid, unless you can suddenly sprout wings I doubt you will get there in time. As for me, I know a shortcut. I'll see you later. Bye, said Anko as she went, poof, out of the room before the Hokage could stop her. So she thinks she can get back at me, does she? Well, she's in for a big surprise as it's time for this demon vessel to fly, thought Naruto, as he simply walked to the shattered glass wall and looking out as if what he had been told was normal. Queen, can you hear me? Said Naruto out loud, making the others except Slade wonder what was going on and why he was talking as if there was someone in the room. Of course, Naruto-kun. What is it I can help you with? Said Dragona from his arm, making everyone jump and nearly reach for his or her weapon at the sound of the new voice. Can you lend me some wings to fly? I need to get to the Forest of Death quick, fast, and in a hurry, said Naruto looking down at his slightly raised right arm. Of course, Naruto-kun. What kind of guest would I be if I did not help my lovely host of a vessel? Enjoy, said Dragona as she channeled her dark dragon powers into his back, making him sprout wings of dark fire over 3 feet in length per wing. What the hell? Said a male-voiced cat-masked Anbu ninja as he drew his kunai out of sheer fear of what he was seeing as Naruto stretched out his wings as if to give them a good feel. See you later, old man, I'd stick around to explain, but I have to fly, said Naruto, as he then took 2 steps back before running out the shattered glass wall at break-end speed into the sky, heading towards the Forest of Death. Lord Hokage, surely you can see he is in fact a demon. We should go to the council to organize more Anbu so we can, said the cat-masked Anbu as he was knocked out by Slade, who picked him up by the back of his ninja vest. Leave the torturing of this one to me, said Slade as he went and took the Anbu out of everyone's sight, as those that stayed could only wonder at the horror that poor soul was about to endure. At the Forest of Death, all the genin in their teams from different ninja villages and nation were waiting for the head proctor for the second part of the Chunin exam, Mitarashi Anko. She had already told him about the Forest of Death and that the next part of the exam would a survival-based exam with 2 scrolls. Each team would randomly get a scroll and then proceed to enter the forest, with the objective being to get the other team's scroll opposite of their. After that, the team that had both scrolls had to make it to the tower at the center of the forest within 5 days. When time was up, all remaining genin that were still in the Forest of Death would be hunted down by Anbu and taken to Kohona Hospital for wounds or till they awoke from being knocked unconscious. The purple-haired woman then went off saying she had to find Uzumaki Naruto and see if he was still alive. Everyone else was wondering about one Uzumaki Naruto too, as he had finished his test in record time and was unafraid of the very scary and scarred Morino Ibiki. Hinata was worried most of all, as she feared something bad had happened to him on account that he had helped her cheat on the test to help her pass. In fact, the Hyuga heiress was almost in tears when the rumors of him being TD by the sadist interrogation expert were making their way around. The rookie 9 genin around her also heard the rumors and noticed she was ready to run back to the academy to find him. Do not worry, Hinata-san, I am sure Naruto is perfectly okay. His flames of youth are burning in him at such a high rate that not even tea can stop him. Yosh, said Rock Lee, as he had seen the girl's obvious plight, giving the girl with a thumbs up. Lee, leave my weak cousin alone, as she will need to focus all of her energy just to stay alive in this place. As for you, Hinata, you better pray that fate does not force us to fight each other depending on what scroll you posses, said Neji, forcing Lee away from a now even more worried Hinata, despite Lee's enthusiasm, as she didn't want to fight one of her family members. Everyone's puzzlement grew when Anko had returned without Uzumaki Naruto, making Sasuke and Sakura mad as hell, knowing they were paying for whatever mistake Naruto had made. Damn him. He probably tried to play a prank on the man and now he's being restrained from being here, thought Sasuke and Sakura as their inner minds imagined beating Naruto within an inch of his life, before taking it. Well, since Uzumaki Naruto isn't back yet and it's time to start the next part of the exams, I guess, said Anko, but was interrupted when she heard a primal roar of that of a great dragon. When she looked up, as all the others did, Anko saw something that would be burned into her mind forever, as well as everyone else's minds until the day they SD. What the? Thought Anko, as she was afraid to even try to understand what was heading her way. Dark flaming dragon's head structure with wings was headed right for the ground near her at a very fast pace. Had she not moved out of the way of where it was crashing down, she would have been severely hurt. The massive crater that was made from the impact was big, very big, and the dark flame around the crater was over 10 feet tall, with the width of it possibly being twice as wide, burning furiously before all of them. When the giant dark fireball finally did out, a figure walked out of the crater with his masked head down, but from the way he walked you could sense he was a force of nature unto himself. As I said before, Anko-san, can't you make things difficult? You make them too easy, said Naruto as there was smoke coming off him as he walked towards his team while looking at Anko with intent-filled eyes. He had been forced into a small transformed state to get to the Forest of Death on time, and to make it worse he had done it in mid-flight. Had he screwed up, could have either incinerated him or hurt to a point that the fall from the altitude he was at would have. Note to self, have Slade use the rainbow paint-haired Anko blackmail on her, thought Naruto as he was going to enjoy seeing her seething face when that got out. Well, now that you're here, I'll give you your waiver for the Forest of Death, so Kohona would not be declared responsible should you said Anko, who handed it to Naruto, who burned it in his hands, shocking everyone. Please. If Kohona had its way, they would want to claim responsibility for my death, so screw your waiver, let's get started, said Naruto, as it was clear from his voice he was becoming impatient and angry. At this point Anko was nervous and starting to sweat, as there was no one in the history of the Chunin exams had someone burned the waiver so they could start. Look brat, I am just doing my job now, sign the damn waiver or you and your team will fail, said Anko, giving him another copy of the waiver form. Naruto reluctantly did, though he didn't sign it in ink. He signed it in blood, much to the shock of everyone around him. Can we get this crap started now? Said Naruto, getting even more impatient with the Junin examiner. Anko could only nod before she got in front of the first gate holding a flare gun in her hand ready to fire. Okay everyone, you have 5 days and not a second more to get to the tower with scrolls. On your mark, get set, go, said Anko as she fired the flare gun into the air. Let the games begin then. Watch out Sasuke, I am coming for you and your little blood power too, thought a grass ninja, as all the genin ran past their own gates into the forest, not knowing of the horrors that awaited them. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.